Good morning from Altai region in Russia, some 70 kilometers away from Kazakh-Russian border. Plan was to ride 540 kilometers up to Novosibirsk, where I'll be doing all the service and repair work on my motorcycle. Then whenever that will be done, 5-10 days, I don't know, I'll be moving additional stretch of around 1000 kilometers after Krasnoyarsk, where I'll be wild camping. Day after, some 800 kilometers to Baikal Lake and Irkutsk. Then around 1000 kilometer away to a city called Chita. And after that, additional 900 kilometers to city called Skovorodino, where I will be deciding if I will head south to Vladivostok or directly north to Magadan. Many people were telling me about the beauty of Altai region, and unfortunately this wild camping spot was the only thing from all of that beauty that I was able to see. I was looking for options, but the thing is, Altai region is spread among 3 countries, so Kazakhstan, Russia and Mongolia. And since it's a border region, to go to interesting spots, canyons place where you can hike, see nice places, you need special permits. To obtain the special permits you need time. So then when you look at that in that kind of way, then it's easy to just, skip it and find something else where you will be spending your precious time. And that was the case with me as well. Plus at this moment I was more worried about what will happen with my suspension, because I know that before I went on this trip I was looking if something would go wrong, what can I do? And I asked service person in my hometown what if a suspension would go on, and he said the BMW motorcycle was built very good, so even if suspension goes off you can still ride slowly and reach the place where you want to go until you change it with the new suspension. So I was guessing once I reach Novosibirsk and BMW service over there, I will do the service, which I was planning one way or another, and see what I can do with suspension. The good thing was that motorcycle was still under a guarantee period, so good guys from BMW Novosibirsk, they ordered a new part. Unfortunately I had to wait for 7 days for it, but the good thing was that I didn't need to pay a thing for it, because it was all covered by a guarantee of a BMW. In any case, as the weather was very nice, it gave me a good time to discover Novosibirsk itself, so 7 days was perfect period to dig through all the spots that Novosibirsk have to offer. And it have to offer quite a lot. It's the city of 1,600,000 inhabitants, third biggest city after St. Petersburg and Moscow, obviously biggest city in Siberia. It was founded in 1893 on the Ob River, crossing point of the future Trans-Siberian Railway. During the Second World War, Novosibirsk became one of the largest industrial centers of Siberia, hosted many factories relocated from the Russian core. First name was Novonikolai in honor of both Saint Nicholas and Tsar Nikolai, and later on they called it Novosibirsk. Here I am moving to the left to the Novosibirsk BMW center, in case that you will need it as I did. The good thing with BMW really is that when you buy Their motorcycle service centers are scattered on all places around the world, so if anything happens to your bike, you can easily fix it without any issues. As I had plenty of time, here I took some time also to understand which way I will move with my voyage, because the original plan was to move from Russia to Mongolia and then from Mongolia back around Irkutsk to Russia. But because of the sanctions and all other political bullshit, I was not able to do the visa in Mongolia again for Russia. I would have to go back to my home country and then do it over there. So at that moment I gave up on Mongolia and was hoping somehow that I could do something like going back on my way from Magadan or East Russia, Vladivostok, wherever that be, to Mongolia, and then with transit visa across Russia back to Europe. But that was a long stretch which still have to be seen how it will move forward, because a rough conversation I had with the Russian consulate in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia, and the lady over there told me that she could give me something like maximum 10 days of transit visa, and that would cover up what I was needing. But then again, as I said, needs to be seen how the rest of the voyage up to that moment will go on. Here I was approaching Krasnoyarsk. It's situated on Yenisei river. It's the second largest city in Siberia with population of around 1.1 million people. It's the largest producer of aluminium in the country. The city was founded in 1628 as the border fort at that time to protect the frontier from attacks of native people. However, that should sound funny, but that was the case, and now, city as it is, it was good because I forgot to take something in Novosibirsk, when you do the calculation at the back of your head and then you remember, maybe the track over there in Siberia will be rough, so maybe it's a good idea to buy one more pair of tires just in case. So I took them. Here is the spot after Krasnoyarsk where I was camping. Beautiful, eh? Yeah, everything was beautiful about this place except mosquitoes. When I reached it during sun was down, there were so many mosquitoes and they were drilling through my t-shirt, if you would believe it or not. So I was completely screwed up. So many bites on my back, on my hands. It was unbelievable. And the only good thing when mosquitoes bite you, if you don't have any medicine with you, is to put cold stuff on you. So if you have a cold water, put your t-shirt in cold water, put it on, and you will not feel anything being scratching you. So that's what I did. Surrounding, as you can see, it's absolutely divine. This stretch from in between Krasnoyarsk and Irkutsk is really nice, twisty road, pure joy to ride, green all over, perfect. And this is one of the things I like about having and riding a motorcycle. You don't have to wait for buses, cars or anything else except maybe trains. And this is a huge train composition on the Trans-Siberian Railway. And in case you wonder, because probably you heard about it, but the thing is that That is the longest, with its 9,289 kilometers, the longest railway in the world. It runs from Moscow to Vladivostok, so from the European part of Russia to the far east of Russia. It was built from 1891 to 1916, so it took 25 years to be built, and once it was built, first train was riding from Moscow to Vladivostok in 1916, and me, I was riding now across it. Here I'm crossing river Angar. River is wide around 580 meters at this place where bridge is crossing it, and it's entering city Irkutsk. City was built in 1652. Population is somewhere around 600,000 people. Because of its beauty, they were calling it the Paris of Siberia. City center is on the tentative list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. As most places in Siberia, it was exile place for unwanted after the revolution. Irkutsk is home of Russian aircraft industry as well. So when we are talking about Ilyushin, Mikoyan, Sukhoi, Tupolev, Yakovlev, all these airplanes, this is their place of birth. And one other interesting thing, so when we are talking about Irkutsk, we are talking about middle of Trans-Siberian Railway, because it's approximately right in the middle in between Moscow and Vladivostok, on some kind of 5,000 kilometers from each of those two cities. I came in the afternoon and the weather was perfect, as you can see, beautiful sunny day. The only problem was that my back, which I was telling you that was beaten by mosquitoes, was scratching me like crazy. And with the weather being hot, the t-shirt that I would put water on to keep it cool would dry pretty fast. So instead of going out immediately and check a little bit city more, I did a tour with the motorcycle as much as I could, and then try to find a place to rest or place to that I'll be spending the night here in Irkutsk, hoping that day after I'll be having at least a few hours in the morning to see the city as well. That was the plan, but as you know, people are planning and gods are laughing. That's how the joke goes. In any case, I'm happy that I've seen this much. Here I'll be stopping just for a few minutes to understand what can I find on booking.com, and it was not a problem. Basically, when I'm on such places, I'm looking for whatever accommodation I can find, and then that I have a secure place for to place my motorcycle, nothing else, so that I can be sure that everything will be okay. This is the hotel, and this is me leaving the place in the morning, and I'm not sure if you can hear or see, but it was a fucking rainy morning. There was a shower. It was, raining cats and dogs all over the place. So my idea that I'll be moving around the city, sightseeing it, nothing happened. I had to move forward. Baikal Lake, and this is nothing strange. I mean, during summertime, this kind of storm will pass through, maybe last for half an hour, 1 hour, and that will be it. Actually, I was passing near one small village on my way here, and the storm came there a few days ago, something like that, and it devastated the city completely. Roofs were flying all over the place, and I was really surprised, and in other way happy that I was not riding that day when that happened, because you don't want to be outside if it's a really big storm. This was just an ordinary heavy rainy day and nothing else. Had no problem getting out of the city, although city looked like completely deserted, completely underwater, but except that all other things were good. And now out of the city, some half an hour after, there was no rain, road was dry, perfect conditions to ride the curvy road down to Baikal Lake. Absolutely enjoyable ride through the forest, perfect. And here it is, the famous Baikal Lake, with 23,615 cubic kilometers of water. Lake Baikal is the world's largest freshwater lake. Basically 23% of the world's fresh surface water is within the lake of Baikal. Also, it's the world's deepest lake with the depth of 1,642 meters. It's also the world's oldest lake, approximately 25 to 30 million years old. Its area of around 31,722 square kilometers is slightly larger than country Belgium. As it is home to thousands of species, plants and animals, Baikal Lake is also on the list of UNESCO heritage site. This on my right side is Trans-Siberian Railway, which stretches along the shores of Lake Baikal as well. Lake Baikal. Finally, yesterday I was in Irkutsk. Basically, I did from Novosibirsk 2,000 kilometers in what, 2 days, talking about iron bath. And unfortunately, this will pretty much stay the case because I don't have enough time. I'm limited until beginning of August, then my touristic visa expires, and as it seems to be, I cannot do another one in Mongolia, only a transit visa, which will not be enough to get me to the Pacific coast of Russia. I mean, even like this it's very doubtful, but I'll see. It will depend on the weather, it will depend on so many cases, road. But for the time being, let's enjoy the moment. Baikal Lake is also part of the legend related to the lost gold of Tsar's family Romanov, because after Bolshevik Revolution 1,600 tons of gold was lost during transport by White Army near the Baikal Lake. Allegedly, some was found in 2010, some 400 meters below the lake surface, and some in 2017 in an old railway tunnel near the lake. On my way to the east, I ran on one group of Brazilian riders with their fixer from Russia, and I was following and riding with them, which was quite a joy. to be in the same speed and in the same mindset to move forward. And at one moment they had to leave, but I had to also continue to the east. You'll see in many cases that this road, which was not that good before, at least on what I was able to read about it, is now fixing all over the place. So it's a relatively good road to drive without any issues or any concerns. More I was moving to the east, road was free from some bigger traffic, so it was like a pleasure in one way to drive. But on the other hand, I started thinking how the road's gonna look like when I'm gonna start approaching the point of decision, which was a small city called Skovorodino. Because here already on some places you could see work in progress. They were building the road, and honestly from Skovorodino further to Irkutsk and to Magadan, I didn't have the slightest clue how the road looks like. This is Chita, administrative center of Zabalkaysky Krai, located on the Trans-Siberian railway route, roughly some 900 kilometers from Irkutsk. Chita was founded in 1653 and named after the river on which it sits. Population is around 350,000 people. Although it looks like a decent city with nice buildings, especially in the center, I was not wasting too much time over here. Found one hotel at the end of the evening when I arrived, spent the night there, and then in the morning did a little sightseeing with a motorcycle around the city, and when that was done, moved forward to the Russian Far East. Next city is Skovorodino, and it's some 925 kilometers away from Chita, the place where I spent the night. And as I said before, I hope that in Skovorodino I will be able to decide will I go to Vladivostok or I'm gonna go forwards Irkutsk and Magadan, basically the road of bones, the route that I wanted to do from the very beginning. But sometimes you are limited with weather and with roads, so I'll see along the way. One interesting fact, if you haven't had a clue about it, is that Russia has 11 time zones. It's spread across 11 time zones, and what that basically means for a rider when you ride from west to east is if you are doing around 1,000 kilometers per day, which I was doing, you are basically each day you are losing 1 hour because of the time zones, because you are basically covering the spread of the time zones. So when I was looking at that first time, it was like, what the hell, why there is 1 hour less, and I know that for that approximate amount of kilometers I should do it in a shorter amount of time. And I was like, oh, this is the case, time zones. And this is Skovorodino, small city, population around 10,000 inhabitants. It is some 2,000 kilometers away from Vladivostok and some 3,000 kilometers away from Magadan. So this is hopefully the place where I will have to decide in a very best way where I will continue my journey. This is the hotel that I picked up, so let's see how it is.
I look worse than I really feel, or vice versa. I don't know. The thing is that I came to the place which is on the crossroads in between. If you want to go to Vladivostok or Irkutsk and Magadan, and up today I was thinking that this road, Lena Highway that goes to Irkutsk, it's in a pretty bad condition when it's raining. But what I read a few moments ago is that they finished it in 2015, 16, something like that. So the idea is to try it tomorrow, and then we'll see. If it's gonna be bad, I'm gonna turn. If it's gonna be good, I'm gonna continue. I don't know. I'll plan along the way.